And welcome to another exciting episode of The Energy That Surrounds Us. I have a very special guest on tonight that we have a lot of background history together, so we will get into that in a moment. But before that, I do have a little bit of housekeeping. If you are a fan of the show, you'll notice I have a new network banner on the display. UFO Expo. We are now proudly airing our episodes of The Energy That Surrounds Us and Riding Through the Unknown on the network. So you can look for us there, and we will be so excited if you check out their other shows as well. So, with that being said, I am now going to turn it over to a friend who I can honestly say friend because they were the first team that I did an investigation with under the guise of being a collaboration. And we had so much fun at this one location, and we kept in touch. And so I am so glad and so excited to finally bring them on to the show to introduce to you all half of the team. But with that being said, I am going to turn it over to the amazing, the talented, the funny Jennifer Rose to take it from here and introduce herself.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm Jennifer Rose from Ghoul Gals Paranormal. We're an all-women's paranormal team here in San Antonio. I also do have a collab team with Sarah Garcia, I know she's going to be on your show here pretty soon too.
Thursday.
Yeah, and with her, we're doing Las Ghost Chicas. And so definitely another level of what we've been doing for the past few years.
Yeah, actually, I love this being live because it's not Thursday, it's Friday. She is
Oh,
my special episode on Friday, and so gotta love lives.
right. Now, the other day, I spent the entire day thinking that it was Wednesday last week. The entire day thinking it was Wednesday, telling people it was Wednesday. And then finally, somebody was like, it's Thursday. And I was like, you're messing with me. Like, no, it's Thursday. And I was like, wow. So I don't know my days either.
Yeah, all the days seem to blend together. If you're not investigating, it's just a day.
Exactly.
So Linda Judd says hello and says, hello, nice to meet you, Jennifer Rose.
Nice to meet you.
So, how did Ghoul Gals come about? And I love the fact that, as you pointed out, you're the first Southwest, is it? All female team?
First, all female team in the Southwest Texas area, but not the only anymore. There has been a lot of teams that have come on. There was a few that was like they would have like one guy, so you know. But now there's a lot of all women teams, and it's been really exciting.
No, I think it's good that, that there are some all female teams. And I also like the fact that even though you're an all female team, that you do collaborate with some guys sometimes. So you're not exclusive and being like, nope, you have to be a female, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just nice to, feel included.
Right? I mean, it definitely brings another level when it is all women. Um, but yeah, we have no problem collaborating with any men. If we know you, we trust you. We have no problem because you do got to be kind of careful because you got to remember that we are in the dark. Like we are investigating with people in the dark. So sometimes, it can be a little nerve wracking, especially if you don't know people. So we really try to get to know the people that we collab with and build friendships and we love it too.
And you raise a great point because there are a lot of teams who will collaborate with other teams just to because of their notoriety and their being quote famous in the area and may not be the right fit. So I like how you guys will sit there and say, we'll collaborate as long as it's a good fit, which I
Yeah.
think is good. And there's nothing, doesn't mean there's something wrong with that team. It's just, we don't all get along. And so why force a night together and being like uncomfortable and going,
Trying to avoid each other.
yeah, or be sitting there like in the dark and doing like EVP work and being like, okay, that guy is over there, right? He's not by me.
Yeah, it could be nerve wracking. I mean, there's just a lot of different people, and there's some people, it's a crazy field. It's a crazy field, and there's a lot of different people, and so you definitely want to be. We're vulnerable when we're in the dark, and we're vulnerable when we're investigating. So we definitely open up a part of ourselves that we wouldn't normally open up just because we're investigating. So you know it's very important to us, and that's one of the reasons why we created an all female team, because we wanted anybody on our team to feel safe. And we had a big team in the beginning, about 13 females, and that was because we wanted to be able to just go out there and just us. We didn't know a lot of people because in the team we were in prior, me and Jen, we were in another team, and we weren't really able to get to know other paranormal investigator teams. That team was just very like, this is the team and this is it. Um, and so we kind of like did that at first in our own team, but then we realized, oh my gosh, there's so many other paranormal investigators out there to collab with, and we don't have to we don't have to have a big team and stick to that. Um, so now it's just me and Jen, and we collab with a lot of different other people, and we really love that.
Right. And also, I want to note that, we are talking in generalities of it being men and women being uncomfortable, but I'm just picturing 13 females in a room, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not quite so sure that's gonna hold. And everyone's gonna get along so well. So
No.
yeah, there could be some of that with women too. And so
Absolutely.
but so one question I want to ask before I get to Linda's question is you talked about how being an all female team, you guys are there to protect each other and the energy is different. Do you feel like when you go to, say, investigate a specific location where you contacted the owner and got permission to come in, do you say, hey, we're an all female team? And do you think that opens doors for you to where people are more comfortable having you come in versus a team of mixed people?
I never thought about it that way. Um, we've we've never really contacted a location and been like, "Hey, we're an all-female team." Um, but that's a good idea.
It
um,
happens.
we've had to be more careful doing residentials because we have had people come and invite us in to investigate their homes, and we just got like weird vibes from them and decided to not go into people's homes. We definitely are very picky about the residentials we take on, because there's just some weird people that contact us, and you can tell they're trying to get us out there because we're an all-female team. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's that.
Yeah, you do have to be careful with residentials because not everybody is on the level.
Yeah, and we have people like Georgie. Of course, you know George. He'll be like, if you're going to do residential and you're not, 100%, I will sit outside for an hour. I don't even have to be a part of the investigation. He'll sit outside for like an hour just to make sure that we're safe. So
Yeah, I love George. He's awesome.
he's awesome.
Hey, here you go. Let's do a shout out to George. Hey, George.
Georgie. Maddie calls him Georgie. I call him Georgie too.
Yeah, I call him George, so I'll stick with that. That just sounds weird coming from me, Georgie.
Shout out to Maddie too.
Oh yeah, Maddie is awesome.
Oh
Both
yeah.
of them. Maggie talking smack, isn't that the
Oh yeah.
show?
I
Yep.
love going to their show.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun being on their show.
Mm-hmm.
So note to Maddie and George, if you want, Jen and I are available.
Right? Their show's
But
hilarious. But it lasts
oh,
a long time if we get really in depth into the conversation.
oh yeah. And I love how the conversation, like, you kind of have to keep reeling it back in because we'll just randomly start going somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like now.
Exactly. So bringing us back in, Linda is asking, do the Ghoul Gals use more of their abilities in investigating?
Absolutely. So Jen is clairaudient, so she can hear. So we're both named Jennifer, by the way, guys. Uh, so she's clairaudient. She can hear voices and things like that that I wouldn't be able to hear. That a lot of times we're able to catch on the EVP. So we use our abilities and double that with our equipment. So and then we'll make notations and marks to go where we can go back and look at it where we actually heard stuff on ourselves. So that kind of helps us get a lot of evidence. But yeah, we use our equipment to back up what we're feeling and what we're hearing and stuff like that. So she's clairaudient. I'm Claire. I forget the Claires. I'm not very like knowledgeable in all these things. But I'm touch sensitive. So I can touch something and feel the energy coming off of it. A lot of times I know when there's a haunted item because of just the energy that's coming off of it. But
Psychometry.
yeah, and um I have mediumship abilities. So there are times where I'm able to relay messages. Um so I see pictures and things like that. I don't and it's funny because people be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" I'm like, "Oh, I have no idea. I'm just letting you know what it is." And if that relates to you, cool. If it doesn't, I have no idea.
No, that's funny. I'm just
Someone
picturing
told
you on
me
an investigation going, yeah, so the spirit's showing me a painting, and everyone's like, oh, what's the painting of? I don't know. It's a painting.
raining. What do you think the paintings of?
Yeah, it's like, what do you, it's like, what do you want me to say? It's like, it's a painting.
Exactly. Someone told me because I'm always like very uh I'm a medium, I'm not a medium, you know, and I explained to them like the types of things I see and how I can explain it. They're like, yeah, that's like what a real medium does. And I'm like, oh, cool. And they're like, there's not a lot of in-depth conversation you can get.
Yeah. So Linda says I should go on investigating with you and your team. And so this is going to be an interesting one is so Linda, we actually have investigated together, and I'm curious to see if Jen remembers the location
Of
where
course.
we collaborated.
Of course I remember the location because it was actually our first big investigation,
Mine too down south.
right? Literally. Yeah, so we were at Black Swan Inn.
Yep.
We investigated a Black Swan Inn. It was very cool. Um I think it's funny because you were telling me how we came in with all this equipment and set up, and the way we did it was very like professional, but it was literally like our first big investigation. And
Yeah. So to
since that,
fill in for everyone watching, when I got there with the team I was investigating with at the time, the owner goes, "Oh yeah, the other team is in this room and they had this set up where they have all these cameras and everything." And I'm like, "Really?" And we work our way around, and sure enough, there's like looked like three or four maybe television screens
yeah, we had
and
two TV.
camera footage on them, and I'm like, man, this team is like upper level to us. We don't got none of this.
We returned that. We totally returned that DVR system because we could not figure out how to get the footage off of it. So somewhere out there, somebody has a DVR system with a bunch of paranormal footage on it because we didn't get any of it off of it. We were like,
Oh, that's funny.
we have no business having this, and we returned it.
Oh man, no, and what was funny too is so we investigated the lower level, the back area, and around the property. And did you guys go around the property too?
We did, yeah. And we did the milk barn. We spent a lot of time in the milk barn. Um, and then over by the gazebo and in the house.
Yeah. We were supposed to sleep in the gazebo canopy areas, but then
Oh
it
yeah.
was like it was so hot and the owners were like, "Well, you guys can sleep on the floor." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, yeah." So we're all getting ready and we're doing last minute walkthroughs. And so did any of your team go into the psychomanium that was there?
Yeah. 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 One of the girls in our team went into the psychomantium. I did not. Don't care for places like that just because I get so overwhelmed with all of like the energy. And so I
Oh,
like
yeah.
so I don't do the psychomantiums and things like that. But yeah, we have some other brave souls that at that time that were on our team, and they went in there. They had they experienced a few stuff, touching and things like that.
Yeah, so to explain for the audience that's watching that may not know, a psychomanium is a room. It can be size of a closet or can be a size of a bedroom, but it's completely blacked out and there's a chair with a mirror with another mirror that's facing it on an angle. So you're in the pitch dark looking at this mirror, and supposedly how the story goes is being in this room, your senses get so focused and hyper attuned that you are able to make connection with spirit on the other side of the mirror, and or whatever spirit wants to make themselves known. So it's supposed to be a very good technique, but I will say with all things in the paranormal, there is a warning label that comes with it that you may see something that you are not prepared to see and can leave a little bit of a mental mark on you. So do be careful. Don't just willy nilly go, hey, let's go darken this room and let's try this experiment. No, you got to be mentally prepared.
That's why I don't go in those rooms too much
Because
because
you see it.
I
Oh,
I
no, go ahead.
I will see some stuff, so I cannot. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There's Okay, so Linda's saying, I'm thinking that working out with lots of exercise would prepare the body for long term energy output. You know, you would think that, Linda, but as fit as you are, you will get tired on an investigation just like everyone else. Mentally, well, it might help mentally. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about if being physically fit versus paranormal investigators. Because let's be honest, I rarely come across paranormal investigators that are like toned, look like they belong on a magazine cover.
Right. Right. That's true. But I mean, maybe it helps.
Yeah,
It's definitely an interesting idea,
we'll have to put that to the test.
right? We'll have to work
And
it out.
I do have a team in mind for that, but unfortunately, it's an all female team, so it would be interesting to figure out you two together. And you may know them because I think they might be in your area. Is the ghost hunting beauties?
Oh yeah. We haven't investigated with them though. But we've heard of them. Definitely, we're Facebook friends with Issa and all that.
I like how you do the thumbs up for that. No, Angela's really nice. She's one of the leads on it. So, uh, yeah, you guys might try doing that. And another team that's down south is, I want to make sure I get this name right. I'm probably not, so forgive me. But Texas Girls Ghost Hunting.
Oh yes, love them. We haven't ghost hunted with them yet, but yeah, we definitely need to.
I haven't either, and that's one I wanted to. I want to. I'd like to investigate with every team in Texas that I have on my show, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, on some I'd have to change my identity, and that just I don't think would work for me.
No, but yeah, we've talked to them. I mean, we've met them in person. They love coming out to the paranormal fest and stuff. So we've definitely hung out with them. The Texas ghost hunting girls, right?
Yeah.
But
So
we've heard a lot of great things about the Texas about ghost hunting beauties.
yeah, and talking about investigating, you were recently at two events, weren't you?
Yes,
So
September.
did you get to investigate at any of them?
No, so we did a little bit. Like we did a what is it? Delco method while we were like at our booth during the paranormal fest. It was pretty cool. So there are these goggles and they're red and they have like this strobe light effect on the red. And then so you mix it with the Estes method. And so I was listening, I had headphones on, I couldn't hear anything, listening to the spirit box. They were asking me questions, and then I had these goggles on. And the goggles actually helped me go into like more of a trance state than just having a blindfold. Like with having the blindfold on me, it doesn't really like help me go into that transient state. But those red goggles really did. Um, and then the idea too is within the red goggles, it's flashing and you can't see anything. And then at some points, um, like if you have abilities, which everybody has abilities, but you could see something in front of you. Like suddenly there's a spirit in front of you or whatever, if there is. So that's the idea with the goggles. But I really like them
Hmm.
because they help the transient state. And then I did see a little bit of things here and there. Like I saw someone wearing a white t-shirt. Couldn't really make it out too much because it was like really fast, but they did go help me go into transient state. So that was awesome.
That's cool, and I'm wondering if they're the glasses that was on that show. I think was it Ghosts of Morgan City? I think where they had a pair of glasses on that was supposed to like open up your vision to see. I don't think they had flashing lights, but the guy was getting a headache and he was saying he was seeing spirits all over the place.
Oh wow. Yeah,
And
like I think you can turn it off and it's just red, but yeah, it has different settings.
yeah, I find it interesting that with the red flashing, and you say you had your eyes open, that you were able to see. Because I would think that, like, for me, my eyes would be like shut down
Would hurt.
because it's like it can't figure out what it's looking at because of the strobe.
Yeah. I'm
And I get into a lot of trouble in fun houses when they do the strobe lights because I'm like, I start using my hand to feel where the wall is, and I'm like, sorry, didn't mean to touch you there.
oh gosh.
I'm trying to see. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm weird. So I mean it helped me. So they were like, it's helping you. I'm like, yeah, it's helping me. They're like, you can turn the strobe off. I'm like, no, I like it.
You know, that brings up an interesting perspective to the paranormal, which is why I love to collaborate, is because what works for you may not work for me, but I can still learn from what you're doing and going, okay, yeah, and then maybe figure out a way to make it work for me.
Exactly. That's one of the funner things about collaborating. Like we've learned a lot from a lot of different teams. Um, there's this one method and I forget what it's called, but like basically you sit in a circle and you hold hands and you like pump like you would be holding hands and you pump like this and then you pump like that on the other side and it goes around and around and around and it's supposed to create like this circle of energy and you just keep doing it and it does, it creates a circle of energy and suddenly we're hearing things walking around us and like whispers in the corner and it was pretty cool just with the simplest thing with no equipment, no nothing, just pumping our hands creating this circle of energy through everybody there in the circle.
It almost sounds like you guys inadvertently created a portal.
It kind of seemed that way. And
You
that was
did close it, right?
yeah, we did actually. So yeah, I guess it did create a portal. George and Kara Shoplin, we were in New Mexico and they were the ones that told us taught us that method.
That's really cool because the only time I've ever heard of people in a circle would be seance, but I've never thought about it as energy boosters, which is interesting. But at the same time, I personally would be a little weary because I'm like, ooh, I got to make sure I'm not using my energy to go through this circle.
Oh, true. Yeah, very true. You got to be careful. I mean, in everything that we do, right? We got to be careful.
Right.
Have you ever felt like you ever brought anything home?
You know, my personal take is no because I have so much protection on me, but I've had people tell me you did bring something home because they would start noticing stuff happening and they're like, this all started when you came back. And I'm like, I had shungite on, I had orgonite, I did saging. There's no way anything came home with me. And they're like, well, this started happening when you were coming, and we're hearing footsteps now. And it's like, we have protection around the house, so
I feel like
there's
maybe
no way it could have gotten through, but I
like
don't
maybe
know.
you
And
were gonna go
so,
something back,
yeah, I'm like, apparently, I'm apparently oblivious if I am bringing stuff back.
right? I guess it's possible, but yeah, I've never even like had the worry of bringing something back.
Yeah, and I'm also one of those that I know this sounds really stupid, but it actually is very important. Is at the end of the investigation, I will go, thank you, spirits, for talking with us and sharing with us. And you can stay here if you like, or you can go out and about, but you can't go home with me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like doing that all the time. I'm like, I don't know how anything could come home with me. It's like I've done everything they say to do to prevent it.
Right. Yeah, I never feel that way. I feel like my husband brings home more stuff because he collects a lot of like collectible toys and stuff, and he's constantly buying stuff on eBay and at estate sales and stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's you. It's not me. So one time he brought home this Teddy Ruxpin doll, and I looked at it and I was like, for one, that thing's haunted. And then like tucked behind the doll, the Teddy Ruxpin's like back, it had a string on it, and on the string was a bell. Yeah.
There was no bell on my Teddy Ruxpin that I had.
There's not a bell on Teddy Ruxpin. Somebody put a bell on it to hear when it moves.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness, really? And
Did he
he's,
know it was haunted, or did he just buy
no,
it because he was like, hey, I used to watch this?
yeah, he wanted it. And he actually bought two that day. And I'm like, that's fine. That one's haunted.
Uh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about Teddy Ruxpins, though, is I have heard claims of people saying because so for the generation that has no idea what we're talking about, Teddy Ruxpin was a stuffed animal that had a spot for a cassette tape in his back, and it would his mouth would move to the words that were on the tape.
Yep.
Well, the claim I've had is people were saying there was no tape in the back, but he would still talk. And I was like, that would kind of creep me out because
Uh,
I'm like, there's no cassette tape. He's not supposed to talk without that. So what's going on?
I know if ours did that, I'd freak out because these ones don't even work at all. So, mm-mm. Nope. If I see those eyes move like that, the eyes move like
Oh,
a
yeah.
like Chucky, like the old Chuck E. Cheese. No. If I see that, I'm out. I don't like dolls. I don't like dolls. I'm not a
Thank you.
nope.
I get so much teasing over that because I'm like, I will not go in a doll room. I just freak out.
I've seen a doll get up and walk with kids. So no. I don't do dolls. I don't want to ever see that again in my life. Freaks me.
I don't blame you. That
Every
would be one of my bucket list things going. This is a one and done, people. Don't need a repeat.
nope.
I don't care if I have it on film or not.
Right? I don't nope. I have no desire. No. That's just another level. Like because spirits are one thing, but like something that is not supposed to move, that has no life, suddenly no. No, thank you.
Well, to me, I think it's more of if this spirit has the strength to possess this object and make it move, how
Right?
much strength does it have to a person?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, we've all seen Chucky. Like, no. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah.
And this doll
So
that I moved was a freaking, it was a brand new out of the box, like Tommy Safari Rugrats doll. Like it wasn't an old antique. No. So that thing was so haunted and it was brand new out of the box.
yeah, I'm trying not to make a comment about it being Rugrats.
It was Rugrats.
Oh, like that show was so weird and twisted. I was like, it doesn't surprise me that the doll would be possessed.
That man was like, let's haunt this one. No, horrible. It was so horrible. We'd throw it in the closet and it would like you could hear it going off and didn't have any batteries. It was no. But that house in itself though, it was probably something in that house that attached itself to this doll because that house was something else. Like there had to have been a portal in that house. And as a matter of fact, the neighbor's house, I on video, they caught a portal because
Really?
yeah. So they would record everything inside their house. It started when we were teenagers, and when the kids started sneaking out, he started putting cameras inside the house. And this house is like this is the most haunted house I've ever been in my life. And there's so many people that live in it though that they are like, I can never coordinate a investigation with them, but they're so into it, just because they've lived with it. But we were reviewing the camera because they had said that they were so the mom was home by herself and they're reviewing the camera on this big gigantic, they had like a big screen in the front, like one of those big screens, and reviewing the camera about some other instance that was going on. And then I'm looking at this wall and I see like this flash real quick and I was like, wait, stop it. And I made them go frame by frame by frame, and it was a portal. Like there's no other way to explain it. It was a portal. And it was just like a flash of light that I saw, but when you went frame by frame by frame, it just went whoom whoom. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it was like all colors, just like exactly how you would think a portal would be. And it just went whoom. And it's so funny because in that area, there's always a lot of activity. And on the back of that same wall is a mirror. And at the end of that hallway is another mirror.
Oh,
I'm like, why do we do these things in an already haunted house? Mind you, this mirror, so another level to it, right? So this mirror that's on one wall and the other mirror is in the where they made an addition. So then that brings a whole other level to it because that part of the house wasn't original.
right. So they disturb.
Yeah, so one mirror is in the original part of the house, and one mirror that's facing that mirror is in the newer part of the house. And that bedroom where they made the hallway to expand was one of the most haunted rooms in the house when we were younger. And they just opened it up, made a bedroom, and made 3 more rooms. So,
So I'm kind of curious on this hallway. Did they have mirrors on the two long walls as well, or just on both ends?
so on both ends, yeah. So on both ends, but on the side, 2 closets.
Yeah, because I was thinking if they had mirrors on all four sides, that would
Oh,
explain how much energy was trapped there because they trapped everything going through there.
don't even give them that idea. I'm gonna go back and there's gonna be two mirrors on each side.
No, but people don't realize that is when they go. So, how the story started and how this all came about was in the Victorian age when somebody passed away, the tradition was to cover all the mirrors. And nobody understood this and they thought it was just to practice of mourning. You don't want to look your best, you don't want to go out, so you don't need to prep yourself, so just cover the mirrors. But in reality, what it was is they had the belief that the deceased person could make himself visible or herself visible and interact through the mirror and potentially, if it was say a ruthless king and he dies, and you look in the mirror, he could totally do something to you through the mirror. And there was this long process of, like, you got to wait a certain amount of time before you can uncover the mirrors because the spirit had its time to go.
Yeah.
And they had much more understanding, I think, of the paranormal back then than we do, because today it's like we're like, hey, let's put mirrors here, or let's put dolls next to this, or let's go, bring that. And it's like, we don't sit there and think about what energy we're bringing in
Yeah.
and if we're allowing it to go away, or is it just going to keep building up and building up and building up.
Yeah. Yeah, we've come so far, but we've gotten so far away from, you know, things that they believed back then that were, valid, that, just like the way that they did the architecture on their homes to prevent spirits from coming in, making the windows red or yellow or to prevent disease. Just the little things that they believed in that seem so crazy, but at the same time it's like, okay, that makes sense.
It does.
Like putting iron gates all around the cemeteries to not only keep things in but also keep it out. People don't think about that the iron around the cemeteries, that the first thought is keeping negative energy in, but it's also there to keep it out and protect the loved ones.
It is. And, you know, as much as we like to think, we're improving upon the ground that they laid for us, there are times where I don't know if it's just my misunderstanding, but I will feel like people will see something, not understand, mock something, and I'm like, if only you knew what this really meant, I'm not quite so sure you'd be mocking this right now.
Right.
And also, I mean, there's a little bit of, they had an understanding of, okay, so if we do this, it's going to cause this energy to come through. And so, we have to prepare ourselves. And, as much as we want to make fun of the Victorian age, that's where I think the paranormal really started becoming really prevalent. And the interesting thing about the Victorian age is that's where we have Shakespeare, who
Hmm.
wrote about ghosts and spirits and interactions with them. You had the witches, you had all these different paranormal avenues, and the seances came about. And people don't realize that even Houdini would go to seances to experience, to see if this was real or not, and making connections. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did the same thing. They would team up sometimes and go, and it's like, what did they know that we don't know? And what do we do today? We have mediums who you could say do seance type connections. We have all these people with abilities,
Yeah.
and we go around and we like to say, oh yeah, your ability is, you're using it right or you're using it wrong. And that's a peeve of mine, is when you say, oh well, I have the ability to do this. Well, you shouldn't do that because you're not prepared and this or that. And I'm like, why are you telling me where I'm at with my ability? You
Right.
don't know me.
Exactly.
And so, yeah. And so I'm kind of curious, when you go and investigate, what are some of the pet peeves that you've come across where you're like, did you really just say that or do that?
My, so in general, my biggest pet peeve is people eating loudly. Like it hurts me. Like it hurts my inner soul. It just like it actually physically hurts me. But it's to another level when we're in the dark and we're trying to catch EVPs and somebody's sitting there eating a Cheeto. Like, bro, now all I'm hearing. I'm like, I have bionic ears on, and you're gonna sit and eat a Cheeto? Like, I'm trying to catch an EVP. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Um, but just like in general, but especially investigating. Um, I know Jen's like she hates when people whisper, but I have like a low tone voice as it is sometimes. So just like naturally, naturally you whisper in the dark. So I'm always like, oh crap, I have to announce myself.
Well, yeah. And what's funny is there are times like I'll be on an investigation and I'll be like whispering to someone before I even enter the room.
Hmm.
And then I'll enter the room and I'll be like, I feel like everyone is staring at me. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I don't even know what you guys are doing in here. And that is one of my pet peeves that drives me a little nutty is when you come into a room where people are doing stuff from another spot and they expect you to know what they're doing and act
Right.
accordingly. And so, like, on a couple of occasions, I would walk in and I'd be like, okay, so what's going on? And they're like, I'll get shushed and being told we're doing EVP work. So then I started walking in and I would stay quiet. And then they would yell at me that I didn't announce myself and freak them out. And I'm like, there is no winning with you people because you don't like it when I talk. You don't like it when I'm quiet.
This is so true. That's very true. But yeah, um, I mean, I was gonna say something and I forgot.
We were talking about pet peeves.
Yeah.
Probably had something to do with someone walking in during technique, making noise.
Oh, we actually have like radios, so we'll use the radio so that we know what we're doing. Hi.
Well, even that though, at times, it is funny because people don't realize when you're sitting in the dark, your senses become highly attuned.
Oh yeah.
And so you are like totally focused on listening for sounds or voices. And when radios go off, it is so funny to see on TV people jump when that happens. And I swear that is probably one of the most true things that TV shows show during an investigation is people do jump because all of
Oh
a suddenly this voice comes out of nowhere.
yep. Those are my jump scare moments too when there's just like actual people around the corner. I'm like, fuck. But
So
yeah.
yeah, I gotta ask with Ghoul Gals, do you guys ever like mess around with each other during investigations, being like, or be like around a corner and be like, oh, this one says she never gets scared, and we're totally gonna get her.
No. We're always like we have like our moments where we could probably do like a whole like blooper just of being like being ditzy or whatever, but we never like jump scare each other. We just never thought about it. I don't know. When we're in the zone, we get so serious We've never just like messed around like that. We've investigated with teams that are like that. And we're like, man, that's so fun. We should do that, and then we don't.
Yeah, so I will say I can't attest to the other teams, but when I do it, it's because the energy is getting so heavy and everything that I feel like, okay, something's got to give because we're like, it's so thick and it's so wearing on that it's like I'm starting to get sleepy or starting to feel drained. And I'm like, I gotta perk myself up.
I think it
And
pumps
so,
energy too, which is always
yeah,
when investigating. Just like a different like just that like energy of scaring somebody and then the energy of somebody getting scared.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's different than going to like the haunted houses where, you know, everyone's like trying to scare you and you know that they're there to scare you. So it's like we're not actually trying to generate like fear out of each other. It's more like we're just trying to snap out of the energy of the location and being like, hey, we're back in reality.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm ready to go back into investigation mode.
No, yeah. That would be smart. We because we get so like the time goes by so fast too. Like we get into these time portals and especially at locations.
Yeah, and I will say this in defense that when you guys first met me, I was in the investigation mode of I'm professional, so
Hmm.
I'm going to be professional. I'm not going to be silly or goof off. We are here to do this. And so I because that's where I came from, being, with all my other work going, if this is my work, I got to treat it like work. And then I watched Haunted Live and I saw him haze one of their members in the shower. And
Oh my gosh.
I thought if Tennessee Raid Chasers can do that, then it's okay for everybody. And so I started having more fun on investigations and I started getting apparitions, EVPs,
It,
cat balls reacting.
so it seems to work. It kicks up the energy.
It does. And so, but I think there's also, though, there is a fine line, though, of, you can be silly and goofy, doing like you were saying, blooper reel, ditzy moments
Hmm.
is one thing. But if you start crossing the line and being like, yeah, you're just goofy to be, goofy and trying just to make everybody laugh and just, not letting it go and not stopping,
Yeah.
then yeah, it's no longer serving its
Yeah.
purpose and you got to step outside or you're like, nope, this isn't for you.
Very, very true.
So yeah, so it would be interesting to investigate again and see, how different it is. And maybe one of these times, I don't know how much the Paranormal Fest, if it's a one time a year deal or if they do more than one.
They have Paranormal Fest once a year, and then they have Psychic and Spirit Fest once a year. So Psychic and Spirit Fest is like in March, March or May, one of those, and then Paranormal Fest is in September.
Yeah. Have you guys ever gone to the History Haunts and Legends?
No, we haven't. We want to.
So you should totally go. It's in Jefferson,
Hmm.
which I think is probably what, 4 hours from you. It's
Yeah,
north of Marshall in East Texas.
it's like 4 or 5 hours.
But you can rent a hotel there, and all the hotels are pretty much had their own history and claims to them. But I will say, staying in two out of the three, they each one that I've stayed in, being the Jefferson Hotel and the
Hmm.
Excelsior, I would definitely say haunted.
Yeah.
There's definitely, you get the feeling of stuff and things there that you can't see.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about it is Jody that hosts it gives 5 locations to where once the lectures are done at night, they give you, I think it's like 20, 30 minutes per
Hmm.
location. And I view it as a scouting trip where you go, you hear what the team that's there has to say and what they're showcasing. And then you can just think to yourself, hey, this spot may be worth coming back and investigating, or yeah, this was fun. I got to see a new technique or learn something new. So that was cool. But yeah, she does 5 little mini investigations
Oh wow,
at the night.
that sounds awesome.
It is.
Yeah, but we've been wanting to go. We just haven't gotten the chance to. I know Dirty South and our friend Adam, they go and they love Jefferson Hotel. They said it's really, really haunted.
Well, and the Jefferson Hotel has an interesting feature to it that I thought I had experienced, but then I found out that I was at the precipice of, I never actually got to.
Hmm.
And that is what's called a disappointments room. And so, for the listeners and for your benefit, a disappointments room was around the 1800s, early 1900s, probably even in the 1700s. If a woman gave birth to a child out of wedlock, the child was put in a disappointments room so it would be hidden away from public,
My
so it
goodness.
would not bring shame upon the family. Or if had a deformity or a learning disability, anything that made it less than perfect to the family's eyes, they were put in a disappointments room, and it's 4 walls and has a door to it, and people would bring you your food. You would have no interaction with the outside world. It was really sad to hear about, but when you think about the times, though, it's like it kind of makes sense, but it is still sad. And I'm like, part of me wants to go, that is so wrong and so cruel and so this or that. But then it's like I put myself in the shoes of that time period and I'm like, oh my God, even if I wanted to do this, the whole city would turn on me for having this. And it's like I can understand, why they would do it,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make it right. But it's like one of those gray areas of the paranormal. It's like, I can't be upset with you, but at the same time I don't like it.
Yeah. There's so many different things that they would do way back when that just would never fly. I mean, even there's things in the 90s that we did that would never fly today.
Oh no, I know.
Can't
I'm like,
even talk about it.
I love watching the memes on TikTok and all of those that are like, in my generation, we did this. In today's generation, oh my lord. And my all-time favorite one is, and you probably have seen this one, and so it's probably, you'd find it just as funny as they go, how to irritate and confuse and drive this generation mad. Put them in a room with analog clocks that has the numbers and the turning, no cell phones, a rotary phone or a pay phone, and a TV with the remote control
No,
to
with the
change the channels or the dial that you had to turn. And it's like, put them in there for an hour and just watch how they melt down.
oh my god, that'd be hilarious. Oh, even just like having a TV with an antenna,
Oh,
having
yeah.
just right. Oh, they wouldn't. They just be like it's broken.
Could you imagine an escape room based on, like, the '50s to the '90s and being like, you'd have
That
to go punching numbers on a payphone to get a
really,
code
that's a really good idea.
and be like, you had to get the antennas right on the rabbit ears right?
That's a really great idea and probably be very popular
Probably would.
because it's like, oh, things that are nostalgic because this generation loves nostalgic things, but then they don't like the way that we used to talk. It's hilarious.
Oh, I know. And it's so funny how some of the words that we used, when I look at them today, I'm like, I could totally still use that word. But then it's like everyone starts looking at you like, "What did you just say?
Yeah,
What?"
so
And I'm
horrible.
like, because I remember totally, that was like a huge word.
Oh yeah, I think they'll say totally. No, maybe I don't. I say awesome a lot.
Yeah. Awesome, radical.
Totally. Yeah, there were so many things, but then I mean the words that these kids say now is just crazy too. So
Oh,
like
I yeah, my mom one day, it was so funny. She hands me a phone and says, "What does this say?" And I'm looking at it and I'm like, "Who sent this to you?" And it was one of our family members. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't even figure out what this is." And it was those shorthands like YVW. I'm like, "What the hell?" And then I finally figured out it's "You're very welcome."
oh my gosh, that's so
And I'm
funny.
like, it was one of those like, and the one that trips me up is LOL when people use that because it's like, okay, so you saying lots of laughs or are you saying lots of love or, and I've heard like other variations. I'm like, how do you know which one they're using?
Laugh
Because
out loud.
yeah, laugh out loud.
That's so funny.
It's like, how do you know when someone texts you that which one they're using?
I say LOL, like just LOL. And it's like I'm not laughing out loud, so why am I saying LOL?
But yeah, the one that got me was ROFL, and I'm like,
Oh,
"What in the world?" And then somebody goes, "You're rolling on the floor laughing," and I was like, "Oh, that's funny, but I would love to see that more than the ROFL
they're
comment."
not rolling on the floor laughing. They're just thinking about
So we're
now.
actually over the hour. Do you have time for a quick question or two, or do you gotta go?
I have time for a quick question or two, and then I gotta get my kids to bed.
All right, so one question is, where do you see Ghoul Gals and forgive me for the other show, you said it really fast and I don't have the image in front of me, the Chicas
Last
something.
dance.
So what's your goal for those 2?
I mean, we're just really out here having fun, investigating the paranormal. Um, we're investigators. We're not trying to entertain or please anybody. Um, at least that's the main goal for Ghoul Gals. Like we're both on the same page on that. Let's go, she guys. Um, the collab. What we're wanting to do there is, dive more into our roots, use more of our abilities, and collaborate with Sarah on that. And then, eventually we want to put together events. So, like, just girls' night out and things like that. So,
Oh, that sounds fun. Another thing I'm excluded from. No, I'm just kidding.
things like that. So, we won't just do girls' night out, but yeah, like those, we
Yeah.
want to do, particular events and that's more where Las Dos Chicas is, collabing together in events and stuff. And then Ghoul Gals, we're really just, out here having fun, investigating, trying to get as much evidence as possible, review the evidence.
No, that's cool. And yeah, that probably would be really interesting to do like an all girls lockdown in some locations, like a jail cell or something.
Yeah. Like what's that jail? Uh
The Lavaca.
Lavaca. All women's lockdown in Lavaca.
Yeah,
That would
because
be
they actually had a women's cell, and then it wasn't as big as the men's cell. So it does make you wonder: did women get away with a lot more, or were they really just fewer female criminals back then?
women probably got away with a lot more just because, oh well, they wouldn't do that, you know. I got away with a lot of that when I was younger.
I'm just happy you said that and not me. No, and the other question I have for you actually is, talking about collaborations and everything. So here's a two-part question for you. Who would you love to collaborate with and where would you want to go?
Oh, I would love to collaborate with ghost hunting beauties and, you know, Texas ghost hunting girls. And I would love to go to Hill House Manor in Gainesville.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cool location up in Gainesville.
Right? That'd be a good one. Another place that I like, we like Six Realm House.
I'm familiar with that one.
It's a new one. It's a new spot. It's a really, really good location. You definitely got to check it out. Six Realm House. I believe it's in Victoria. She has night markets and stuff, but you can also, rent the location for investigations overnight. And
All right.
renovated it so it looks, but she's renovated it true to the house. So it's a good little spot.
Sounds cool. Yeah, Victoria is over by Yorktown and
Yeah, we would go.
Goliad and Gonzales and all those places.
Oh yeah, I love Gonzales. Gonzales County Jail is a good little spot, but more for like a smaller team because we went and I think we were like 6 or 7 deep, and it was too much, too many people. I think it'd be great for
Yeah.
like.
One place I would like to collab with anyone, I would go with any group or individuals that I trusted
Good answer.
is actually in cost.
Cost.
Yeah.
I don't
And
think of.
it's the where the cannon fired the first shot that started the Texas Revolution.
Oh really?
And I found that out because I went to the spot where it was because I always was told it was Gonzales
I thought it was in
through
Gonzales.
school.
Yeah.
When I put in the address and location in my GPS, it goes Cost Texas, and I was like, it actually is just on the outskirts of Gonzales.
Wow.
So it probably at some point was Gonzales, but then it became a suburb that became named, and so.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it is, so imagine you have an open field here, and you drive up this driveway down the center. Over here is someone's house. Over here is the field. And there's a little marker in the center with an American flag. I haven't figured this one out yet. And it goes, "This is where the shot that started the Texas Revolution was." And the reason I say I haven't figured out the American flag yet is because you would imagine a Texas flag flying over that.
Yeah.
But no, it's the American flag. And I get
Mhm.
being in America, but
But it
to
wasn't American.
me, it makes more sense to put a Texas flag over where the Texas Revolution started.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
But yeah, and I'm betting nobody ever really goes there. I've been there twice, and it's really cool to check out. They have really nice set of information boards, a little monument.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been there. I didn't know. I thought, like you said, I thought it was in Gonzales.
Yeah, and
But I've seen signs and stuff.
yeah, and to me, I think what would be cool to do if we could, with permission from all the locations, would be to do a road trip of cost where the shots were first fired in Gonzales, combine them,
Hmm.
then go to San Antonio's Alamo,
Yeah.
go. Well, no, actually, no. It would be then go to Goliad
Yeah.
and La Bahia because of the massacre that happened during the Alamo. So they actually fell first.
Yeah.
Then go to San Antonio's Alamo, Washington on the Brazos, because that's where the government center was, and they had to flee. And then San Jacinto and do like a whole like Texas
Real
Revolution trip.
cool. Yeah. Really cool. That'd be interesting. What if we got people in each location to investigate at the same time?
Ooh, that would be cool.
Right? Except you can't investigate inside the Alamo. They won't let you. I've tried.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to say what
But
they don't know won't hurt them, but
I know a
yeah,
man
let's not
that,
do that.
yeah. I do know a manager at the Alamo that's said to come during the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says, spirits are only active at night, but they're active during the day, but it would be harder to do because all the people walking around. It's like, how
Oh
do you
yeah.
go, "Hey, everyone in the building, you gotta be quiet for 5 minutes."
It's always packed. Even if you went like at 2 in the morning out right outside, because there's guards. But if you went at like 2 in the morning right outside the Alamo, there'd still be a ton of people.
Oh, yeah. It's like, people don't realize this, but it's actually right in the heart of the city.
Right in the middle. And it's in the middle of Alamo Marketplace. So
Yeah, it's like shopping centers, stores all over. It's
yep.
like it's not where you would expect to find
There's a
a
foot
historical.
rockers right there. Really great chocolate shop too. And then the mango's right next to it.
Yeah, that's true, and I've yet to experience the Menger.
It's a nice little hotel. It has a lot of residual energy there. I don't a lot I haven't experienced anything that wasn't residual there.
So if you were to pick a hotel down south, and when I say down south, I'm referring to like me being up in the north central area, would you go to the Menger or the Galvez?
I'd go to the Galvez,
Okay.
10,000%. I've been into both.
Yeah, I was in Galveston, but I didn't get to go to the Galvez.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The Manger is like it's not as fancy, but I don't know, just a different type of energy. Like they have a basement there that has a museum at the Galvez, and it's just like a lot more area to cover. They also have a ghost tour at the Galvez. Um, and then that just so I mean, I wouldn't say more history. I don't know. I just like Galveston, period.
Well, Galveston, it does have a historical mark on it
Uh,
that kind of trumps every
Right?
experiencer out there of
Right? Like, why aren't we talking about Galveston more often in the field? Like
yeah.
it it's so like like when you walk into a place and there's that like what I call the paranormal wall, and you just feel it, right? You feel that going into the island of Galveston. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
the whole place is haunted. Like you feel that paranormal wall just like as soon as you get onto the island, and I love it. I don't go into the water there though because it creeps me out. But like that's not somewhere like I'd go to like go in the ocean. But I love,
Yeah.
I love it for.
Although I don't know that we consider the Gulf of Mexico the ocean.
I know people are like, let's go to the beach in Galveston. I'm like, there's a beach in Galveston. That's
The whole island is pretty
fish.
much a beach.
You go fishing. You don't go swimming.
No, but when I was in Galveston, we were staying in a hotel that was right near the water. And so we walked over, and all of a suddenly I was like, this is kind of cool. There was a pier there made
Mm-hmm.
out of rock that looks like they just left there or piled up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I walked out on it to the end, and it's a really actually is a long stretch. And you actually can almost, I would describe it as feeling free of like what you were saying, the paranormal
Mm-hmm.
energy. It's like it actually shifts the further out you get to where it's like lighter, more fun and free, and it's like you're literally walking on the water.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause the water is splashing in the rocks beneath your feet, and you're like, "Whoa, was not expecting that."
Yeah, Galveston's pretty interesting. I really like it there, but yeah, the Galvez. And then not only that, I mean, at some point the rooms are just as expensive, but you get like a fancy breakfast and they have a heated pool. So
Oh, you got me there. I'm like, "Forget the breakfast, the heated pool." I'm like, "Phew."
that breakfast was like it was like going to a fancy restaurant and it's included. It was amazing.
I wonder, if you were to do an event that they would ever let you, like, rent out the place for, like, a huge deal and be like, "Yes, we're so glad the paranormal's here. Let's make this affordable to you all."
Yeah, right. But they'd have ballrooms. That would be really cool to have like a, you know, paranormal,
Paracon?
yeah, like a paracon there in one of the ballrooms at the Galvez Hotel. Just throwing it
Yeah,
out there wants to do that. I'm not gonna do it, but somebody
yeah.
definitely,
I'd be like, "Kling Brothers, you wanna do an event over there?
right? I know
Get a bunch of people?"
I know there's a lady there in Galveston and she runs a lot of the tours and she does a lot of the history. Her name's Spooky
Yeah,
Jen. And she that's something that would be cool to look into for her.
yeah. And even more interesting is like you were saying with your group with Sarah is even if it was a small little paranormal event, but could you imagine that being your first event
At the Galvez,
hosting at the Galvez and be like take like a floor or two?
the third floor, the whole third floor. That'd be cool.
Yeah. It would definitely put you guys out there as main front.
Right?
But then again, you would then have to
We have
top
to
that
charge
or keep
500.
that up.
We'd have to charge people like $500.
That depends on how many rooms and how many people you. I mean, I'm not imagining bringing in like several speakers. I'm just be like, you could do it yourself. You guys are
But
speakers.
the rooms themselves are like $300, $400 for one night.
Actually, considering where it's at, it probably is not as bad as you think. Being that it's on an island and it's a cruise port city. So, that causes a lot of things to go up in value.
Sure. What would probably be a better idea to start off with would be like a Airbnb.
Yeah, they do have those.
There, yeah, they have a lot of Airbnbs there. But yeah, the prices are pretty steep in that area because of the cruise port. We cruise out of there all the time, and this last time I didn't even bother to get a hotel because it was just so expensive. I was like, man, we'll drive in the same day. It's
Yeah.
fine. As much as I like to stay in Galveston, we'll drive in the same day, whatever. We'll go on the way back in. If we're not too tired, we can uh, walk through the Galvez.
Yeah. Do you ever go to that? I think is it Seawolf Park?
No.
It's over by the terminals, and they have a World War II vessel and a submarine there.
Oh yeah, I think I've been there once.
That I got to investigate one night
Oh,
with.
yeah, that's what Jen was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually interesting, and that was a fun night investigating with the Lefebvres.
Oh yeah.
But
There.
yeah, and so I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you sharing your evening with me.
Of course, of course.
So, where can people find you?
On all the socials, all the tickety talks and Facebook. um, Ghoul Gals Paranormal. If you just search Ghoul Gals Paranormal or Ghoul Gals uh, team, we're on Facebook, Twitter or X, uh, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff.
And you all will notice there is a link tree for them in the description that has all of those links in it. So you can pick and choose which one you want to go visit or visit them all.
Including our gear. Our gear link is in there too. And we have a cute little ghost logo and everything. So if you're a girl into ghost, grab that.
There you go. So, last question, the most important question probably you'll ever get asked on an interview. What is a golden nugget you would want to leave the audience with that's watching this from your experience?
Hmm, just be yourself, be humble. Don't let anything uh, get to your head. Always protect yourself if you're thinking about going into the paranormal field.
Actually, I think that would work for any field.
Right. Just all around, be yourself and always protect yourself.
That is very sound and very wise. And so I will take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone in the chat room who is watching and participating, and to everyone watching, thank you for watching. So, my favorite part of this is Not sure how I'm going to work this out, but we'll see how it goes. Is wherever you are in the world, make it a wonderful day, night, afternoon. If you're asleep, do wake up and feel the urge to watch either Ghoul Gals stuff or my show. I have no problem shamelessly plugging that. And in all seriousness and fun as well, make each day wonderful. Wake up to a new day and just enjoy it. And as Jen says, be yourself and protect yourself. And I think that is sound advice. And with that, we are going to say good night, everyone.
Good night.